Welcome back, everyone. Here's theCUBE's live coverage here. I'm John Furrier, theCUBE. Dave Valante's out on assignment on the show floor, getting all the stories here at MWC 2026, 3 days of wall-to-wall coverage. Zeus Kerravala's here. He is the founder and principal analyst at ZK Research, CUBE alumni, CUBE contributor. Zeus, as always, great to have you on theCUBE, and I'm expecting a blog post on SiliconANGLE shortly.
Oh yeah, there'll be a few.
Your patented move, come on theCUBE and get a post up. Rob Hof loves those stories. You're really going to do a great job of synthesizing what's happening at the show. So first I want to ask you, this reminds me of supercomputing 5 years ago when it turned into from an HPC show to an AI show, full-blown AI, a lot of enterprise, a lot of hyper-convergence discussions around the edge of the network, talk about quantum and intelligent infrastructure. This seems to be the show theme. What is your read so far here on day one?
Yeah, well, I mean, every show you go to is turned into an AI show, right? And it's interesting that with this being a service provider show, John, where so much of the focus here is helping service providers try and figure out how to do that mythical thing we always talk about, but they never do, which is find new sources of revenue. And so I don't think there's any question that AI is going to help them lower their operational costs. I think agentic ops is coming, and that's going to make them a lot more efficient. But what I've been looking for is, can somebody answer the question, once AI is in the network, do the telcos actually have an opportunity to raise their value prop and create new sources of revenue? And I think they're going to have the opportunity. I'm not so sure a lot of them are set up to do that, but I think that's maybe the sub-theme here is
it feels different, because you and I both have joked many times about, I called them, they move as fast as glaciers. And really kind of not a compliment to the telecom providers. But that was pre-hybrid edge. I mean, cloud was happening, was everything kind of teed up? It seems like with distributed computing and hybrid, it seems like that's rolling to their front door. They have footprint, they have, whether you're an operator with towers and power and cabinet and connectivity, or you're running a central office, a lot of the carriers and operators have infrastructure. They have the coveted energy. I think this is an opportunity. In fact, the headline I'm writing for SiliconANGLE right now, to your point, I want to get your thoughts on it, says, the hyper-converged edge is telecom's next big bet, or its last missed opportunity. This, to me, seems like the final moment of consequence for the telecoms, because, they missed cloud, Apple, Google picked up the rents there on them with the marketplaces, SaaSopolis is happening now. They have the data, they got the networking, they have the footprints. There's an internal network piece that HP and Juniper and Cisco will provide gear towards, but the wireless piece, AI factories coming to the edge, it's a matter of time.
Yeah, I think what's different this time, and I went to the Nokia event yesterday, and their CEO, Justin Hotard, was talking about how when you think of these big moments in networking, right, we had voice networks and data networks and then cloud, and the network is the thing that connected them all. The challenge back then for telcos, John, was that every time we went through these shifts, they had to build an entirely new network, right? The network that delivered frame relay was different than the network that delivered voice. And that was different than the network that MPLS was. Every technology shift, they had to build a new network. Now, Jensen talks about this all the time. With 6G coming and with AI networking coming, the big difference in networks today is they are software-based, not hardware-based. So they don't have to go build a whole new network. They can use the infrastructure in place and do the innovation either in the cloud by partnering with like a Google or an Amazon, or they can do it just in software themselves. And so I think this is their best opportunity to capitalize, because the lift isn't nearly as heavy as it has been in the past.
In terms of their ability to capture the value.
And the speed which they can work with. If you got to build a whole new network to go do something, well, that's going to take you a long time. And so now they've got the partnerships in place with the hyperscalers, they got the software models in place, right? All these equipment vendors are helping to modernize their equipment, and so they should have the opportunity to move faster than they have in the past.
What is your take on culture? Because the culture and the legacy side is sell connectivity, revenue per circuit. Now it's managed service, AI services. Now you got revenue per service. So you have now they have to kind of get out of the box mode. I mean, because the old way was, here's a box, monetize the connectivity?
Well, a lot of the world has moved to outcome-based selling, and I don't think the service providers do that all that well. That's not true as a blanket statement. There's some regions of the world where, do telecom and in the UAE, Telstra in Australia, BT, they do a good job of that. By and large, there was a group, especially the US-based operators, they don't do such a good job of being able to talk about how the impact of connectivity and transformation there is going to help transform businesses. And this is where they rely on the equipment vendor partners to help do that.
So when you look at the show floor, you've talked about in the past AI adjacency versus being primary AI native. What's your smell test for AI washing out on the floor? You look at the people, certainly there's a lot of quantum washing right now, but AI specific, AI ready infrastructure. How do you tell the AI washing, people who are just kind of hand waving versus the real deal?
I guess a lot of it is just the age of it, right? So if you're taking an older box that was never meant for AI and you're trying to add another layer on top of it, another software layer, it's probably not AI ready. So I think you got to be running modernized silicon at its most basic level, either the newest Broadcom Silicon One, NVIDIA GPUs, whatever, right? But it has to be that. But I think more importantly, can they, are they actually delivering on it right now? There's so much vision out there and so much talk about products that are coming, but a lot of it's not here yet, right? And so, for me, it just comes down, do you have customers that have deployed it, and what are the benefits they're getting from it? And so, there's some, I was in AWS's demo area this morning, they talked about how, I think Telus is one of the customers, dropped operational costs by 80%, things like that. So the case studies are there. There's fewer of them than more of them, right? But that to me is the litmus test. Do you have customers using the products that are gaining an advantage today?
You mentioned agentic earlier. Where do you see agents working? You mentioned cost optimization. Anything on the revenue side? What's your view of agents in the telecom AI world?
Yeah, that's a good question. And this is an industry that actually could use them. Because historically, when was the last time you called Verizon or Comcast or one of those companies, right?
I remember.
Yeah, and when you do, you don't get a great experience, right? And so they have network outages, things like that, but they could easily use agents for customer service as the low-hanging fruit, because when you look at the NPS scores of the service providers, they're generally pretty low when compared to their software, and infrastructure peers. And so if they can just bring agents in to handle a lot of the burstiness that you get when things on your network happen, right? That is a huge win. And so I think from a low-hanging fruit perspective, it's on the customer service side.
Remember the days go back 15 years ago, the buzzword was the consumerization of IT. And that was kind of an enterprise story.
Yeah.
We kind of have a consumerization of access. So I want to ask you, with wireless and hyper-converged kind of on the table, what does the enterprises look for right now? Sovereignty over latency, performance? What's your view on the enterprise coming into this, what is ultimately in telecom a consumer business with a siloed enterprise group? Does it come together? Or what's your take?
Well, it can. In fact, there are companies out there, Zscaler, Cloudflare, that are pushing this concept of moving away from your legacy WAN to something that's more cafe-like. You've heard this model, right? Where you treat every user, and look, it's not for every company, but if you're a retailer, insurance company, things like that, and you've got a lot of distributed employees, it's a better model. Now I will say, one of the big holdbacks there, barriers against that, is Gartner, right? Gartner does not recognize that as a viable WAN strategy, but I think it is, and I think there's so much connectivity out there, connectivity options for businesses. They got to stop thinking about these. They really have to rethink how I architect my network with the right type of connectivity is there. I don't need to have a traditional router and firewall on every location. Maybe I just need connectivity. And so a lot of it is, consumer connectivity in a lot of ways is better than enterprise connectivity. It's faster, it's more reliable in some cases. And so with a little bit of tweaking, you could have a network that's a lot cheaper. I was talking, Zuora, they're in San Mateo base. I was talking to the CIO there. They moved to this model of get rid of your WAN, go to this cafe-style, consumer-grade broadband. They dropped the cost of their network by 80%. So, the proof's there. But
all right, so I have to ask you, I know you do a lot of reporting on the floor. You mentioned AWS. You mentioned some of the people you were visiting. On the supplier side of on the vendors, what's the vibe? What are you hearing? What's some of the conversations you're having?
You know, there's a lot of excitement, right? And you know, clearly, I think everybody recognizes that AI is going to change traffic patterns, and that'll create an opportunity to go help companies modernize their network. And so I think there's a lot of pent-up optimism that we're going to see a massive upgrade, both on the service provider side, enterprise data center and campus, to be able to help build better training clusters, but then also inferencing at the edge, right? Edges come in, physical AIs come in, which will drive more edge connectivity, more cellular connectivity, more Wi-Fi, things like that. So there's a lot of anticipation. I think the capital markets reaction recently, though, John, has been very confusing to a lot of public traded companies, where you see companies put up beaten raises and the stock get crushed. The entire security sector is in a downward trend right now, even though one would think that the more AI I have, the bigger my attack surface gets, the more security I need in more places, right? But I think...
Is that a gap between understanding the value proposition or the value creation piece, or is it more psychological fear of AI bubble?
I think it's a bit of both, right? And I think there is a fear of AI bubble, and I think Wall Street's not saying, prove it to me. You've talked a lot about how infrastructure spend is coming, a refresh is coming, now prove it to me, let's see this. Because I think as long as enterprises sit on the fence and push off product, which, let's face it, they are, right? That creates a lag between what's been said. And I think Wall Street wants some proof now, and it's a fair statement.
Well, I'm psyched to have you on, good analysis. What's your personal focus now? What's got your attention? What's on your radar?
Well, I want to see use cases, right? I like everybody else, have heard the vision, right? And I want to go talk to companies that have deployed it. When I go talk to the vendors, I want them to tell me about customers that deployed it, the return they got. More and more, you know, I was at the NRF show this year, I'm going to go to HIMSS this year too. The vertical shows become more interesting, and I'm really curious to see if I asked G2 this question, I know you had him on this morning, you know, with Cisco, do they need to start thinking about, and the other vendors, putting a retail or healthcare or insurance or whatever, some kind of industry wrapper around their products to help customers understand how to use these things in their specific industries. And so that's what I'm looking for.
Use cases.
Yeah.
And you think the verticals are hot?
Yes. Well,
depends.
Should be, yeah.
Should be hot.
Yeah.
AI should be domain specific value.
Yes. In fact, IBM talks a lot about that, right? The growth being in small language models that are more industry specific, right? So we're going to train everything kind of coarse grained using LLMs, then we're going to fine tune them using small language models for specific use cases. The other area too, John, I'm sure you've talked to this, everybody you've had on, is the concept of trust. I think this global macro we're in right now, and this started with a conversation at Davos, every conversation I have has some element of trust to it. Governments don't trust each other. People don't trust their AI systems. You know, we're not sure that we can secure them. My employees are doing things in a shadow AI perspective that I can't trust, so I don't know what data to put in what AI systems, you know, where. There's so much uncertainty out there right now. I think that does favor the big vendors though, because they've got more trustworthiness, I guess, because they've been around, they've got the channel partners.
I was talking with the president emeritus at Cohere, Kevin. He was talking about how the compliance work, if you do that work up front, it's kind of a grind. That's my word, he didn't say grind. He said if you just take the time to get past the no's, because every risk management department's no. But you have to just kind of hold the line and just do the work to get them comfortable. And once compliance hits, the agents are more effective, they happen faster. So there's almost like a playbook emerging where that compliance ground game work,
measure twice, cut once.
Is very much in play, and that's a theme I'm hearing a lot more. I'm hearing a lot of, whoa, compliance and governance is critical. Well, that's cool, I get that, but show me. And that's just the use case, just got to grind it out.
Yeah, I thought Cisco's AI Summit, I know you watched that, Matt Garman's presentation, I thought really was a good one, the AWS CEO, where he talked about how if you've got a canyon and you put a board across it, you're going to crawl. But if you've got handrails up or guardrails, you're going to run. And I think that's what we're looking for right now, is we got the right compliance and security foundation in place, enterprises now can run to AI, not crawl to AI, and that's good for the whole industry. I just don't think it's a natural motion for us in tech, John, to think about security first. We deploy the stuff.
My friend fell off the board. Okay, see you later. I never liked him.
It's like, maybe we need some guardrails, right? But historically we deploy stuff and they go, oh crap, it led to all these new problems, let's go secure it now. But we got to rethink this and do security first.
Z, it's great to have you on. Love chatting with you. Use cases and examples. Show me the money, show me the use case, show me the proof. We are in a market where certainly the hype and has to be matched with realities we're trying to do here in theCUBE. I'm John Furrier with theCUBE, thanks for watching.